Look across all of recorded human history, at every emperor, philosopher, and conqueror, and one figure stands out as the most widely recognized person to ever live: Jesus of Nazareth. According to data from the historical ranking study, Who's Bigger, out of every 10,000 words appearing in scanned published books, the exact word Jesus accounts for one of them. For modern historians evaluating this massive legacy, there is a strict baseline assumption: supernatural events, like someone coming back from the dead, cannot be tested scientifically. Therefore, relying on a miracle as a historical explanation is widely considered completely off-limits. But excising the resurrection from the timeline leaves a gaping hole in the historical record. Without it, there is no clear, logical mechanism to explain how a small group of scattered followers suddenly mobilized to form the early Christian church. When you remove the miraculous, you are left with a severe statistical anomaly. A poor, marginalized carpenter managed to dominate thousands of years of human culture, completely devoid of any conventional method for acquiring power. To see how difficult it is to actually manufacture greatness, look at the modern story of Todd Marinovich. From the moment he was born, Todd was engineered to be the ultimate professional quarterback. His parents optimized every single variable of his environment. They utilized millions in resources, restricted him from ever eating a hamburger or junk food, and guided him straight into a high-profile athletic career at Southern California. Despite this intense, hyper-focused optimization, the plan collapsed. Personal struggles, drug use, and multiple arrests derailed his career. We regularly see highly funded, mathematically precise strategies fail to produce lasting influence. To suggest that absolute global dominance can be achieved entirely by accident, with no strategy at all, defies basic probability. If we evaluate the life of Jesus purely through the cold metrics of a modern fame consultant's 7-step success strategy, his biography looks like a masterclass in how to guarantee obscurity. He started with a profound socioeconomic deficit. He was born in an unsanitary animal enclosure, and his arrival was announced to impoverished, culturally isolated laborers. This map graphic shows the strict geographic constraints of his entire life. The borders of first-century Israel were incredibly small. You could fit 6.5 Israels inside Alabama. He never traveled outside that footprint. Furthermore, he left zero physical evidence. He wrote no books, created no art, and commissioned no letters or self-portraits. Based strictly on the physical footprint and material data, his life was perfectly calibrated to fade into total anonymity within a single generation. His social network offered no leverage either. His inner circle was limited to a dozen working-class men and a handful of supporting women, and he managed to remain highly unpopular with the ruling class and the wealthy elite. Then, before he even reached his mid-30s, his public career ended in execution by the state. Roman crucifixion functioned as a specialized tool of social erasure, comparable to the modern electric chair. It was designed specifically to strip away a condemned person's dignity and permanently ruin their legacy in the eyes of the public. Every single measurable metric surrounding his existence favored complete historical erasure. That makes the immediate exponential multiplication of his followers across the known world an inexplicable paradox. It is entirely fair for a modern investigator to require hard proof. As the Skeptics rule states, an extraordinary claim, like rising from the dead, requires extraordinary evidence before anyone should logically accept it. But as historian and writer Tim Keller points out, the burden of historical proof does not sit solely on the shoulders of those making the miraculous claims. The non-believer inherits an equally heavy investigative burden. They must provide a completely natural, historically viable alternative to explain the sudden, explosive birth of the Christian Church. Simply stating that you do not believe in a resurrection is intellectually incomplete. You have to supply a mathematically and historically plausible mechanism for how things actually began. So, if we strip away the supernatural, what is the naturalistic mechanism for his rise? And more importantly, in the strict name of science, is that mechanism repeatable? Could another individual, saddled with those exact same geographic, material, and sociological deficits, ever duplicate that level of universal recognition? To date, every alternative hypothesis attempting to explain his lasting influence without a resurrection fails the test of repeatability. They simply cannot be verified by science or supported by extraordinary evidence. This meteoric rise from profound obscurity stands as an objective historical puzzle. The sheer scale of the data demands a logical answer from every worldview.